Hi guys and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today I'm going to explain to you in detail but in simple terms about the regenerative procedures we as dermats recommend for hair fall. Every single day, patients sit across me at OPD and ask me the same questions. Doctor, which is better, PRP or GFC? What is QR678? And what exactly are stem cells? Are they the future or are they already in our market? And every time I spend 15 to 20 minutes breaking it down for them because they deserve to understand what exactly is getting injected in their scalp and more so what they are paying so much money for. Today, I am giving you that information for free. Everything I tell a patient who's paying for my time, the evidence, the comparisons, my honest answers, right here. So let's go. Let's start with the OG, PRP, which is platelet rich plasma. In PRP, we take your own blood, usually about 10 ml, and spin it in a centrifuge to separate the platelet rich layer from the rest of the blood components and inject this concentrate into your scalp. The platelets then release growth factors such as PDGF, TGF beta, VEGF, IGF, etc. that stimulate the hair follicle and prolong the anagen phase, which is the growth phase, and also improve the blood supply to the hair follicle. So to answer your question, does it work? Hell yes. A 2019 systematic review, which is published in a journal authored by Dr. Gupta et al., saw 19 studies on PRP for androgenetic alopecia. The conclusion: statistically significant improvements in hair density, thickness, particularly in early to moderate cases of hair loss. Hence, the evidence speaks for itself. Here's the honest part though. PRP is not standardized. The platelet concentration varies massively depending on the kit that is used, the centrifuge protocol, and even the operator. Two clinics offering PRP may be giving you very different products. So when you're choosing a clinic, ask them what kit they are using, what is the platelet concentration they are targeting, and how many sessions are recommended. Usually, 3 sessions at a month's interval apart is the standard starting protocol. Now let's talk about GFC, which is a growth factor concentrate. Now, this is what a lot of aesthetic clinics have actually shifted to. And honestly, the science makes sense. So, GFC is also derived from your own blood and it takes things a step further. Instead of just concentrating platelets, GFC activates those platelets first, either using thrombin or calcium chloride mixture to release the growth factors before they are even injected into your scalp. So you're directly injecting pure growth factor concentrate and not just platelets waiting to be activated. A study which was published in the Journal of Cosmetic Dermatology in 2021 by Dr. Prasad et al. Directly compared GFC with PRP in androgenetic alopecia patients. And GFC actually showed superior improvement in hair density, thickness, and patient satisfaction scores after 6 months. Now, the authors attributed this as more consistent, higher concentration of active growth factors. GFC by design is also leukocyte poor, which means there's less inflammation at the injection site. So patients tolerate it better. There's less pain, less swelling, and faster recovery. Now, the next one that we're going to talk about is QR678. This is actually quite interesting because it's a proprietary growth factor cocktail which is developed in India and it is not derived from your blood. So it's a ready-made formulation containing growth factors which include FGF, VEGF, EGF, and others which are administered as scalp injections. The name may sound like a product code because basically it's a patented product, which means only some licensed centers can use it. Does it have evidence? Well, actually, yes. A clinical study which was published in the Journal of Cosmetic and Laser Therapy in 2015 actually showed statistically significant increase in hair density, in hair count, as well as caliber after the QR678 treatment in both males and females who had AGA. Now coming to the most exciting frontier, exosomes. Now exosomes are nano-sized extracellular vesicles. They are tiny bubbles which are released by the cells that carry proteins, lipids, RNA, and signaling molecules. When we talk about exosomes for hair loss, we are primarily talking about exosomes derived from the mesenchymal stem cells. When we inject exosomes in the scalp, they give out signals. Signals to promote cell proliferation, reduce inflammation, stimulate angiogenesis, and crucially activate the hair follicle stem cells. In a 2020 study published by the Stem Cell Research and Therapy, demonstrated that MSC-derived exosomes significantly promoted hair growth in mouse models by activating follicle stem cells and extending the anagen phase. So the human data is still catching up. A pilot study published in 2022 showed that exosomes had a significant improvement for patients with AGA at the end of 3 months. You hear so much about exosomes and you're very excited about it. But the truth is here. There is no standardization in the market right now. Some products are claiming to be exosomes and are not very well characterized. So you have to go to a center that tells you the source of these exosomes. Preferably a GMP certified or MSC derived exosomes is supposed to be used. I'm sure the exosome space will look completely different in 5 years. Right now, it's a promising treatment, but it's too early and it requires a discerning eye. In the same breath, I'm going to talk about stem cells. So, when people ask me about stem cell therapy for hair, they usually mean two things: either autologous adipose derived stem cells that are taken from your own fat, or allogenic MSC treatments. So, the mechanism is again similar to exosomes. These cells secrete paracrine factors that create favorable environment for follicle regeneration. So a study was conducted in 2017 which showed that these adipose-derived stem cells actually improve their hair density in patients with androgenetic alopecia after 23 weeks. But here's my honest counsel. Full stem cell injections carry more regulatory complexity and procedural risk than just exosomes and PRP. The evidence base is still growing and currently is very small. Now let's talk about the OG DHT blocker, dutasteride. Now we've all heard about finasteride, dutasteride being taken orally. But now also there is injectable dutasteride, which we inject intradermally into the scalp where the hair follicles reside. So this we can achieve a very high drug concentration in the scalp itself. Dutasteride is a DHT blocker which blocks both type 1 and type 2 enzymes. Hence, it causes around 90 to 95% blockade of the DHT enzyme. Theoretically, if you inject it and don't take it orally, this minimizes the systemic absorption, reducing the risk of the sexual side effects most of you have probably heard about. Typically, it's diluted in saline as a carrier solution and injected in a grid pattern across the areas where you have hair thinning. So studies, particularly out of South Korea and Europe, have shown promising results. Dutasteride is typically injected every 1 or 3 monthly and it's often combined with PRP for its synergistic effect. The last thing I'm going to discuss today is hair follicle growth factor therapy. Now this refers to extracting follicular units just like how we extract grafts during FUE in hair transplant surgery. We remove these grafts, process them in order to isolate growth factors, stem cells and even exosomes to then re-inject into the frontal area of the scalp. What's being extracted is actually the dermal papilla cell conditioned medium, which has signaling molecules secreted by the dermal papilla cells that regulate follicle cycling. So exosomes from hair follicle stem cells are nanovesicles, which carry growth factors like VEGF, IGF-1, KGF, FGF7, and they stimulate the WNT beta-catenin pathway, which are key inducers of the anagen phase, which is the growth phase. So what are the advantages of hair follicle growth factor over generic PRP? Since these growth factors are follicle specific, they are more targeted than the platelet derived growth factors. So it potentially reactivates the miniaturized hair follicles by mimicking the dermal papilla signaling environment. So that's it. We've come to the end of the video. And lastly, I'd like to say just be honest with your dermatologist about your budget, your goals, and your timeline. A combination protocol that you can actually sustain for 12 months will beat any expensive single treatment that you do once and abandon. So if this video helped you, share it with someone who is sitting on the fence about starting a hair regenerative treatment. And remember, hair loss is progressive. So the earlier you act, the more we have to work with. So on that note, bye and see you in the next one. I hope you subscribe for more content like this. Bye guys.